So I'll go 3, 2, 1,
Pancetta.
and then we'll both say pancetta. All right? 3, 2, 1,
Pancetta. And now we're all on the same page. The witch.
Podcast.
He's a witch.
Hey, we're back.
Welcome to the Hill Kings podcast, the only podcast where one of the hosts has jury duty tomorrow.
You have jury duty
I have jury duty tomorrow.
Sheesh.
But I also have a sinus infection, so I'm hoping that gets me out of it.
Lots going on. Lots going on. This is also the second time we've recorded this episode. Should we say that?
Oh, yeah.
Are we recording right now?
Yeah. Oh.
We recorded this whole episode like fucking how long ago? 2 months ago?
Way back in the day.
In like July. File got corrupted. So it's new for y'all. It's old for moi.
Head on over to the Patreon to see what actually happened with the first recording.
Hey.
I feel it in my holes, I am rectangular.
But we're here. We made it back. We've got that Friday feeling going, even though it's a Sunday.
Sunday.
Even though it's a Sunday. You know? Because we released this on Fridays. So we've got to come with that Friday feeling. You know?
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about it? How are you feeling today, minus the sinus infection and the jury duty?
Pretty good. I just had a nice little sandwich. I've got a nice little Tobo Chibo.
Tobo Chibo, what do you have on the
Tobo
sandwich?
Chibo.
What are we talking? We talking ham? We talking slam?
No, dude, it was turkey.
Turkey?
Turkey.
A little bit of cheese?
It was
You
a
get some
turkey
cheese
melt.
on there?
It was like
You get some cheese?
yeah,
Cheese?
turkey,
Some
cheese,
cheese?
mustard. Grilled that shit up.
You grilled it?
Yeah, dude, we did a little turkey melt.
Oh shit, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude,
Well,
that's what
I had some leftover salmon.
Ooh, Leftover Salmon, one of my favorite jam bands.
Is that a real band?
Leftover Salmon is a real band, yes, but they're not one of my favorite jam bands.
Ooh, drag them.
Yeah, dude, I think they're kind of like they do like a lot of Grateful Dead covers, maybe. I don't know. Defend Leftover Salmon in the comments section if you are a Leftover Salmon fan.
A leftover salmon man. What do we got this week? Episode 4? I
Episode
feel
4
like we've
again.
talked about it before. Hank's Got The Willies. This is, of course, the Willie Nelson episode.
There's going to be a lot of Texas musical cameos in this episode besides Willie Nelson.
Are you a big Willie boy? Are you a country music man?
I am a country music man. I do like some Willie Nelson. I don't find myself listening to a ton of him all the time. Hell yeah. And you laid that banjo track down right before this recording. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was all me.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not much of a country boy. I do like the old school outlaw country type situations. I like Willie. I have been to Farm Aid,
Yeah?
which is referenced in this episode.
Have you been to all of them except for one?
No. I think I probably went to the one that Hank didn't go to. I went to go see Neil Young specifically.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm a Neil Youngsman.
Farm Aid is my favorite off-brand electrolyte sports drink.
Hold on.
He's going to find the worst soundbite.
Hold, please. I have to find the worst soundbite.
That is perfect for that terrible electrolyte sports drink joke.
We're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about it all on the episode. But you know what we got to do? Foist is everybody's favorite segment. This week in Arlen, this is, of course, the segment of the Hill Kings podcast where we take a little trip back down memory lane to see what was going on during this week. This week in Arlen, you know, we always started off with the look at the TV guide. This episode aired on February 9th, 1997. A little Simpsons check to start it off.
Yeah.
Do you know about Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie? Slash, have you watched the episode since we first recorded this shit? Because you've had time.
No, dude, I have not gotten to that part of The Simpsons yet. I'm totally working on it.
This might be my favorite Simpsons episode. It's
yeah?
definitely top 3. This is the episode where Itchy and Scratchy starts to kind of like lose popularity, and they want to like bring it into the modern day. So they invent a new character called Poochie, who's like a wisecracking dog. And they hold auditions to see who is going to do the voice of Poochie. Homer gets it. It ends up being a huge flop, and everyone hates Poochie. This guy sits on my shelf every day looking down on me. That's what the Poochmeister looks like.
Ooh, look at him. He's a rad dog, dude.
I did bring show and tell to the pod. If you guys have anything to show and tell, you can send us pictures on Instagram of anything. But I have a little toy. No, I want to see it all. I want to see your feet. I want to see your meat.
Whoa. Speaking of wanting to see feet. 21. I had a note this episode about I think I'm running into a common theme of Hank might have a foot fetish, but we can talk about that later.
I think you might have a foot fetish. But let's talk about the TV guide, man. We'll get into all of that shit when we talk about the episode.
Yeah, dude.
So we had Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie. That's a classic banger of an episode. Followed by, honestly, a classic King of the Hill episode. But King of the Hill was up against the fucking NBA All-Star game.
Oh, yeah.
Which is huge. That's a big deal. 90s NBA All-Star game? 1997? During the Bulls' second three-peat? That's definitely what everyone was watching this night.
For sure.
Except for me. I was probably watching The Simpsons. Maybe flipping back and forth. Anything else on here stand out to you, though?
I'm wondering what Seduction in a Small Town is up there.
Try that
ABC.
in a small town.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. RSVP, the funniest party disasters.
Funniest party disaster. That also, it seems like it could be Fox trying to compete with America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yes, I noticed the Steve Harvey show they've got on here. This week it's a new episode, When the Funk Bites the Dust.
Oh, yeah.
By the time we record episode 9 of this show,
so meta.
That one will be a rerun, because I noticed whenever we recorded that, I was like, When the Funk Bites the Dust, but it's a rerun at that time. So the WB went, so reruns pretty quick.
Yeah.
This is us from the future and the past. Check out the Steve Harvey show.
We're all over the place. So Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie, we had the NBA All-Star game. It was a 132 to 120 W for the Eastern Conference. Michael Jordan had a 14, 11, and 11 triple dub.
Wow.
We also have The Shadow, which I will be playing on screen here. Very hilarious looking Alec Baldwin movie where he plays like a
shadow
superhero of sorts.
Okay.
See, I actually kind of want to watch this movie. It looks wild. It's got a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes though, so not ideal.
Yeah.
But this came out This came out on Friday in theaters. So did
The
Dante's
Shadow.
Peak, which is a Pierce Brosnan film
Pierce
about
Brosnan
a
number.
volcano, I believe.
Yeah.
So it was also the 23rd anniversary of the Beatles playing the Ed Sullivan Show.
The Who?
The Beatles?
The Who?
No, the Beatles, not the Who. Not Pete
Oh.
Townsend. Yeah.
Ah.
No, the Beatles. Paul McCartney, you know.
We're the Beatles.
So that's pretty monumental, I guess. But really the biggest thing is if you were sitting down to watch King of the Hill this night, you were probably buzzing. Because the following morning, you could have gone down to your local game store and you could have picked up a copy of Mario Kart 64.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because it came out the next day, changing the world as we know it forever.
Oh my god. I can't even imagine a time without Mario Kart. Granted, I basically grew up in a time without Mario Kart, but it's such a seminal game.
Did you, though?
I mean,
Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo
I was
probably came out around
pooping
the
my
time.
pants probably still at that time. So there might have been a brief period where there wasn't Mario Kart, but at least as far as my brain recalls, there's always been Mario Kart.
Chris was 16 when this came out. He was pooping his pants.
Still pooping my pants, baby. Yeah, dude.
I'm about to bust.
Why did that play 4 times? I never had an N64, so I didn't play a lot of Mario 64.
Yep.
I played a lot of Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
and then we got a GameCube,
Yeah.
so I played a lot of Mario Kart Double Dash.
GameCube was the first Nintendo console in our household, and so yeah, we were big
no
on
Super
Double Dash.
Nintendo.
No, we didn't have a Super Nintendo.
We had an NES, and then a Super Nintendo,
Rich,
and then
rich kid.
we didn't. Not quite.
I know
No,
what
no N64. My brother had a PlayStation though.
Yes, PS1 with
Yeah.
the tray that would pop up for the
Yeah,
disc.
the
Oh, so
pop-up
fun.
tray, the Final Fantasy, the
Mm.
all of it. The
Yes, dude.
Monster Rancher. I don't know if
Monster
you ever
Rancher.
played that or watched Monster
yeah.
Rancher. It was a banger.
Mario Kart's still
Uh,
good though.
Yeah, Mario Kart's still good. I still play it all the time, and I'm pretty good at it.
We used to
Challenge me. Yeah, I used to beat your
play.
ass.
We can play after this.
Yeah, I play a little kart. You want to just stop recording and go play Mario Kart?
Yeah.
All right, later, dude. Wait, come back.
Damn, dude, I totally kicked your
Solid.
ass.
No. that would
Viewers, I
never
whooped
happen.
Brad.
That would never happen.
Kicked his ass.
What else? It would have been Irish poet / drunk guy Brendan Behan's 74th birthday. So, thoughts on that?
Not familiar with the man. I like
Yeah.
his last name, Behan. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, he spent most of
It's
his
probably
life
Bahan or something.
in prison. Most of his poems were written from prison.
Damn, just
I
for being
believe.
Irish.
Yeah, just for being drunk. And then the Parrot Trap was released on VHS, but not the Lindsay Lohan one, the shitty one from the 50s
Oof.
or the 60s. The Lindsay Lohan one didn't come out until the next year. So this being released on VHS may have actually been part of the reason that the remake got all the buzz.
Interesting.
Because maybe it had a resurgence from the VHS release.
Man, that Lindsay Lohan one is a classic. We could push
It
out
is.
beds together. Serious
Is that the
acting chops
that's
from
the
young Lindsay
standout
Lohan.
line? Dude, it's such a tragedy. She had so much potential that she did the typical child star,
Did
you know?
she was in some movie that we watched recently? I can't remember.
Oh, it was like a Lifetime.
It was a
movie, right?
Lifetime like snow movie.
Or
Did
like-
we watch
yeah,
that
like-
when we were in
No,
Seattle?
we did. We hung out in Seattle not too long ago. Had a little reunion of sorts, and we pretty much exclusively watched Lifetime movies.
Okay,
but I
but
don't
we didn't-
believe.
we
I
didn't
think it
watch
was
the
in-
Lindsay Lohan snow
No.
movie.
I think it came out on Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's like a holiday HBO
Yeah.
style. I thought she
Yeah.
was fun in that.
I don't think I actually watched it. I guess shout out to her.
Shout out to
I hope
Lindsay.
she's doing well. Hope you're good, Linz.
Yeah, let us know in the
should
comments how
we-
you're doing, girl.
Should we jump into this
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
episode?
Yeah, dude.
Your boy's driving the mower on this one. I'm taking the reins. Little recap, little rundown on the episode. Hank's Got The Willies is the 4th episode of the first season of the Fox animated series King of the Hill. It was written by Johnny Hardwick, R.I.P.
Rip.
Rip to Dale, and directed by Monty Young. Willie Nelson and Dennis Hopper guest star as themselves. The central theme of this episode is basically Hank cares more about his guitar than he does about Peggy or Bobby. So we get a little cold open on Hank having
It was all a dream.
a super homoerotic dream
With Willie Nelson.
at Willie Nelson's golf course.
Yep. No spitting, no fighting, no gambling. Hee hee.
He. They both chip a ball into the hole at the same time.
Uh-huh.
which-
2 balls,
nice
1 hole.
Little, nice little metaphor.
What are you doing, step bro?
Well,
Willie mentions they sit down, they do a little jamming, they play a little guitar. Willie mentions that he always wanted to sell propane, but the whole music thing
came up.
Yep. And then Hank's dream starts to get interrupted by the buzzing of a hummingbird, and then just like some loud clanging of a guitar, and he is awoken to find Bobby standing on his bed with Hank's beloved guitar Betsy, just kind of banging on it. And then we get the theme song. We cut back in. Hank is kind of lambasting Bobby for banging on Betsy. Mentions that it's
Not
a
a toy.
1963 Guild solid top. I did actually look in a 1963 Guild catalog. They did not make acoustics with that type of bridge. You would not find that kind of bridge on an acoustic guitar of a Guild of really any model. But there were some similar Guild solid tops. Very nice guitar. I understand why he's so attached to
Yeah,
it.
it's a pretty looking guitar. Smells like cheese though.
Yes, Bobby was strumming it with cheese to emulate his hero, Celery Head.
Celery
who is-
Man.
Celery Head.
Oh, celery head. Yeah.
Yes, total obvious
Carrot
kind of
head rip.
Carrot Top. Come on, man. It's a reference to Carrot Top.
It's Sunday.
Bobby says that he glues things.
Oh
and
That's
also
not a
mentions
joke.
that he
That's a waste of good glue.
yeah, and he makes $3 million a year.
Hank doesn't. Hank doesn't believe that, and obviously does
Yeah.
not respect Bobby's idol.
Yeah, and Hank mentions real comedy, like someone like Robert Klein, who is. It's kind of weird that Hank is into Robert Klein,
Yeah.
but I guess that's what like a lot of dads of that era would be watching comedy-wise.
Yes.
Hank comes out and talks to Peggy about it, mentions Celery Head. She also confirms she saw him on TV and that he does make $3 million a
Yes.
year.
Hank is very uncomfortable about Luann.
Yep, Luann's wearing shorts.
Uh,
Hank doesn't like that.
Well, Hank asks her to put on some pants because she's just got on a big T-shirt, and she goes, "I'm wearing shorts," and raises her arms up, and he's like, "Don't scare me like that."
Yep. We also get a little bit in this scene of Peggy being jealous of Hank's guitar. He mentions that he took the guitar to prom.
Yes.
And this is something that we talked about, again, in episode 9. There's a little bit of there's a reference in that episode that Peggy went to their like high school state football championship game with them. Does this mean that Hank took Peggy to the prom, or Hank took the guitar to the prom instead of Peggy?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
Or
confirm
did they know
here.
each other yet?
Yeah, I was like, do they know each other? Because I feel like if somebody at your high school brought a guitar to prom, you would definitely know about it.
I brought my guitar to prom.
And all your classmates knew about it. They're here. They're here in the comments section, calling you out.
No, I didn't take my guitar to prom. I didn't have a date.
This is
I
Willie
didn't
Nelson
take my
golfing
guitar.
dream number 3, which I thought was funny.
Yep. That Hank has a series of dreams. Do you have any recurring dreams?
I have some
Like
details of
this?
some dreams that are recurring. Settings will be like semi-recurring.
Let's hear about it.
I'm about to bust.
I actually don't remember a ton of my dreams super duper well
You're one of those.
all the time. There's like sometimes when I have camping dreams, like dreams that I'm camping, that will be kind of like a familiar place that has recurred. But no, not like I don't have like copy for copy reoccurring dreams.
I do.
Ooh.
I have a few. I used to have night terrors when I was a kid, but we don't got to talk about that. Nowadays, I actually have a series of tattoos that are based on a recurring dream that I have,
It's the Pokemon
which
tattoos.
surrounds around Pokemon. I have a dream where I'm a kid and I'm walking through the woods where I grew up, and there is
In
a
Edmond,
ghastly.
Oklahoma.
No, you're from Edmond, Oklahoma. I'm not from Edmond, Oklahoma. You are. This is in northeastern Canada, where I'm from.
Northeastern
Okay.
Kansas, where he's from.
No, Canada. You're from Edmond.
So, anyways, there's a ghastly that pops up in your reoccurring dream.
Yeah, and I save it from a bunch of bee drills. We run
Wow.
away. It becomes my buddy. We eventually find a little Eevee to be friends. All of the Pokemon tattoos I have are what I imagine that I would have in the real world.
Yeah, because of your
Which
dreams.
is
Your prophetic
the nerdiest
dreams.
shit in the world. Yeah.
So, at what point in time in the dream do you start kissing the Pokemon? Is that like right at the very end, like right before you wake up every time? Or?
Somebody's grabbing my butt.
Yeah, that's it's near the end.
Yeah.
That's when Mr. Mime shows up.
Whoa, he's got those large hands.
With those big old hands, those grabby grabbers.
Back to the episode, though. Hank's talking to Peggy about how much he loves Betsy, and that's annoying Peggy. And he asks, "Do you understand what love means?" And Peggy is like, "Well, I love my family." And then Hank's like, "You see what I'm talking about? That's the
you
kind of
got
love
it.
I have for Betsy."
Just blatantly doesn't give a shit. After this, we get another scene that kicks off with Bobby messing around with Hank's mower. He ends up losing control of it and driving it right into Hank's truck. Meanwhile, Peggy is kind of in the side yard practicing pitching with Luann, who's got on like full catcher gear. She's just kind of like taking out her frustration. After Bobby drives the mower into the truck, the alarm goes off. It wakes up all the guys on the street.
It wakes up Hank, and Hank says,
And wakes up Hank.
"No, Willie, that's a one-way street."
Yep. So he's having another gay dream about Willie Nelson. All the guys are woken up. We get some conspiracy theories from Dale.
Bill says it sounds like your horn's going off.
Yep. In this scene, also, we get a reference to Hank says that boy who ran across Canada. He's like talking about how Bobby needs a hero. Do you know who the boy who ran across Canada is? I know I already asked you this question once. Do you remember? Pop quiz. What's his name?
It was a boy, and he ran across Canada, I believe. And
What's his name?
His name was Bobby Canada.
Oh, no. It was Terry Fox.
Of course. How could I
Yes.
forget?
He had cancer. He lost a leg. And he ran across Canada. His goal was to raise 1 loonie for every Canadian for cancer research, bud.
Did he do it? Did he succeed?
He did not. He died.
Oh, jeez.
Uh,
R.I.P.
But legend. Every year for school, we would have like the Terry Fox fundraiser run. My elementary school
That's fun.
was renamed Terry Fox Elementary. He's a Canadian hero.
Okay.
There's also a made-for-TV movie where the guy who plays Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings plays Terry Fox, I believe.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
definitely
shout
have
out
to
to
watch
that
that.
movie.
Yeah, I had a note here while Peggy and Luann are having pitching practice, and Peggy's really putting the heat on. We get some talk about Luann's beauty school, which will kind of pop up
Yep.
a bit. She says, if slow down or you're gonna chip a nail, and then I'll fail my manicure test. And Peggy's like, are you having trouble at beauty school? And Luann says she's failing braiding, and Peggy says that none of the women in their family are good braiders. I know it, you know it, the whole town knows it.
We also, while Hank is talking to the guys, they're like hearing a strange sound that they can't quite pinpoint. That turns out to be Bobby just whacking dog shit with one of Hank's golf clubs.
Dale says that it is like black conspiracy government helicopters, and Bill is like, how do you know about those? And Dale says alt.conspiracy.black.helicopters.
Have we tried that URL?
I don't want to.
So yeah, Hank goes, kind of digs into Bobby again for just chipping dog shit with his club. He goes inside, and is scrubbing it off with
Carlos.
one of Peggy's dish scrubbers.
Carlos.
She calls Carlos.
Yes.
Which, like, he's scrubbing off dog shit with like a dish scrubber.
It's not very sanitary, mate.
That's very gross, mate.
I did have a note back in the driveway there when they're talking about alt.conspiracy.black.helicopters. Boomhauer starts talking about the internet and how easy it is, and he drops something about dang old naked chicks, man. Click, 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 real easy. Which I thought was kind of funny.
And dang old TV programs all the time is gabbing over there. Every time they put on them dang old Looney Tunes come on, they put my mouth full of frosted flakes, man. Can't hear a dang old thing.
Exactly. I also had a note here that Boomhauer, we see him in his underwear. We see him in blue underwear, and he is traditionally in leopard print underwear. So I don't think the leopard print underwear has been established for Boomhauer yet. It's the little things.
What about feet? Do we see any feet?
We're going to talk about feet a little bit later. Don't get ahead. Look at Brad.
yeah.
So thirsty for the feet knowledge.
You know, subscribe to the Patreon that may or may not exist if
It's
you
more
want to
about
see our
legs
feet.
in this episode.
Yeah, it's
The
a
legs involve
leg-centric episode.
Yep.
So Hank ultimately decides that Bobby needs a hero. He goes to talk to Bobby. Bobby is playing his Game Boy, not paying attention. Tells him that he needs to find a hero. You don't want to end up like Jason Adderley's boy.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby knows who Jason Adderley's boy, Howard Adderley, is. And that is where we get a classic soundbite.
I'm about to bust.
We get a little cut of Hank at
Playing cards.
Jason Adderley's house playing cards. He gets up to go to the bathroom and accidentally walks in on this emaciated gamer boy.
Pale gamer boy.
Yep. Bobby says that he knows who Howard Adderley is, and he's his
second
number 2
favorite,
hero. And Hank says, you need to be lectured all afternoon, and decides to take him golfing with them.
Yep. And that's the commercial break. I had another note up here. When Bobby accidentally rolls the mower into Hank's truck, Hank asks what happened. Bobby says, your mower hit it. And then Hank says, well, maybe we ought to take my mower to that child psychologist. Jesus. Like the line
boy,
of, your
right.
mower hit it is so funny. And then to be
Yeah.
like, well, maybe we should take the mower
It's
to
a
the psychologist.
dig, man. It's cold-blooded. But yeah, first commercial break. After that, we come back to Peggy loading up Hank's golf clubs for him. And she just kind of tosses them in the back of the truck while Hank is strapping Betsy in to a seatbelt. He also wants the guitar over the airbag and not Bobby, which is hilarious because he's going to take it in to get it fixed because Bobby chipped the bridge. My guitar is actually currently in the shop right now and has been for multiple weeks.
Does your guitar have a name?
Moonshine.
Oh.
And it's actually a podcast that Chris and I both love. Shout out to NADPod.
Never heard of it.
Has a character called Moonshine. I named the guitar this before that podcast.
Yeah. Is that just because you love moonshine whiskey?
I love when I was a 11-year-old boy and I got this guitar. I love drinking moonshine.
Hell yeah, dude.
No, it's terminal. My guitar is fucked.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Damn,
I have an
were you
old
playing it with a piece of cheese?
Martin. Yeah, I played it with too many pieces of cheese, and they said it's gonna cost like to completely fix it. It's gonna cost like over $1,000. Yeah, so I might just do it over time, but
Bro,
I'm
you should
pretty
just smash
pretty
it.
bummed about it. I don't want to. It's
Good
nice.
smash.
But yeah, Hank is taking the guitar into the shop.
Tells
Brings
Bobby
up
he
the
needs a
hero thing
Yep.
again. Bobby says that his could also be Willie Nelson. Calls him alternative because he has long hair, and Hank says take that back.
Take that back.
Do you think Hank knows like how progressive Willie Nelson is?
Well, he does make a point and say that that's as far as he'll go with Willie Nelson. So it seems like Hank does separate
Adult
the art from the
contemporary.
artist here. Yeah. Hank is talking about similarities between he and Willie. He says Willie's from Texas, I'm from Texas. Willie likes to play golf, I like to play golf. He said Willie's had trouble with the IRS, and Hank spent 6 hours on that 1040 form. Easy my ass. Are you familiar with Willie Nelson's IRS troubles?
I am, because we have recorded this episode
Yes,
already.
we have. Well, for the listeners at home that don't know, Willie Nelson did not pay taxes for a very long time.
King shit. Everyone commit tax fraud. Do it.
He owed $16.7 million, or $16.7 million is what he settled for with the government.
Shit.
So he likely owed more, but as part of that settlement, he had his property sold, including his golf course, Pedernals golf course.
Which they reference as they drive by. You see it, and there is a sign that says property of IRS.
Yes.
Which is pretty good.
And this is
It's
also
nice that Willie Nelson is like open to making fun of it.
Yes. This is also an interesting episode for Arlen location within Texas, because we'll see that they are within a very easy drive of Austin Hill Country, and later on Bobby will actually travel to Willie Nelson's house by bike. So in this episode, it seems that Arlen is near Austin, but it'll be
Is
in
that
different
where
spots.
Willie's house is?
Yes.
It's in the hill
Mhm.
country?
His
I
golf
didn't know
course?
that.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things about the whole IRS thing is Willie Nelson released an album that was basically just the purpose of it was just to make money back that he lost from the IRS.
Called
He
"Who
called
Will
it
Buy
like
My
that.
Memories." Is the
Yeah,
name of
the IRS tapes.
Yeah. But he gets it back, essentially like through a bunch of his like friends, and people buy it and just like give it back to him.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Love it. After this, we get a little cut to Luann going into her braiding exam. She braids herself into the braiding machine.
Yes.
And gets stuck in there.
Hilarious.
We get Hank he brings the guitar into the shop. The kid behind the desk knows who Celery Head is.
Yeah.
When Hank mentions the cheese
The guitar
situation.
shop owner says like, smells like feet, and Hank says my boy was playing it with a piece of cheese, and the son Les is like, oh yeah, like Celery Head. And then his dad tells him to go alphabetize the guitar strings,
which
like,
is hilarious.
by brand or note, and he's like, just go.
Just go. He drops a classic joke that most guys would sell their wives before selling a guitar
Yes.
like this, and says he's got 1 million of them, but then he's only got one
He's
more.
only got one other joke.
And also in this scene, we get Peggy just kind of around town
We get a
talking
Peggy
shit.
montage.
Yeah, she's getting her mustache waxed.
Yep.
At the hair salon.
Very
She
funny.
stops at a yard sale and buys a guitar, and then just immediately
Smashes
smashes it in
So
front of the
funny.
lady. So she's frustrated. Which isn't the last time that this will happen. this season of her not being recognized by Hank and being frustrated by it. After that, we are at the golf course. Bill suggests that
Sandy Claus.
Sandy Claus should be Bobby's hero. We get to see Bill's golf swing, which looks like Charles Barkley's
Takes
golf
way
swing.
too long.
I'll put a picture or a video of Charles Barkley swinging.
Yep. There's
Look
a lot
at
of
it,
fun
laugh
stuff
at him.
on this golf course here. Dale tries to break his club, but he can't.
Mm-hmm.
which I thought
Damn
was very
Russian
funny.
alloy or
Yeah.
whatever. Bobby, there's a nice gag of them driving to the next hole, and Bobby like jumps onto the back of the cart and slows it way down.
Yeah.
While they're all talking, Bobby picks up a club and says, "Watch this," and sinks a very solid chip from outside the green. Hank thinks that maybe Bobby has some promise, which they immediately find out that he does not when they bring him to swing again. He lets go of the golf club, and it goes flying and hits an unknown person in the distance. Who could it be but Willie Nelson?
Willie Nelson.
They knock him out. Dale suggests that they check his pockets for cigarettes because
Yes.
he's out of cigarettes. And then we
Yes.
cut to another commercial.
I was going to say, I had that cigarette joke noted down whenever there, because before Bobby picks up the golf club and makes a swing, Hank is looking for his ball in the bushes. So Hank is out of bounds. The ball comes flying in and hits the cart, and then we hear Boomhauer say 4, which is always funny, of a late call out. And then Bobby asks Dale who his hero is, and Dale says, "You, if you get me some smokes." Hank there also says that Bobby could be the next Lee Trevino.
Yep.
Who Lee Trevino is, besides
Yes,
from the last time.
because he is referenced in a classic Simpsons Christmas episode.
Oh, really?
Where Bart wants a violent video game, and Marge gets him Lee Trevino's putting challenge instead, which I think is also, I don't know if Lee Trevino actually had a video game, but Bobby in a later scene mentions Ben Crenshaw Turbo Golf.
Yes.
Which, did we look up to see if that's real?
No, I did not. While you're looking that up, I'll talk a little bit about Lee Trevino. He's
Trevino facts.
Trevino
Let's get 'em.
trivia.
Trevino.
Lee Trevino is considered a goat. He's a goat on the golf course. He's won 6 majors, 29 other tour events. He is a Texan. He's a Mexican American, and he is a short king. He's 5'7". He has some very interesting nicknames. Supposedly he's a very, very happy guy, and one of his nicknames is the Merry Mex or Super Mex.
So I just realized that the Simpsons game was Lee Carvalho's putting challenge.
Ooh.
Could that be a reference to Lee Trevino?
It could be.
It is. Not only is it a reference to real golfer Lee Trevino, but also a reference to a real awful video game called Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf. What? Lee Trevino had a fighting golf game? Holy shit.
What?
This looks awesome.
What?
I'll put up an image on the screen, but yep, Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf. That's awesome.
Gosh.
So not only was he a goat on the golf course,
It's an
but
NES game.
put his name on a really shitty looking golf game.
His name
That's awesome.
in that game is Super Mex, which is one of his nicknames.
Ah, okay. And I wonder if the turbo Ben Crenshaw's Turbo Golf was also kind of a dig
Interesting.
/ reference to Lee Trevino's putting challenge.
Probably
but
was. So yeah, shout out to Lee Trevino.
Big time shout out. We come back from commercial, and Willie comes to. He asks if he's bleeding from the ears.
Yes. Oh, really quick before we went to commercial, Hank is trying to teach Bobby how to swing, and he says, "Try swinging less like a girl."
Yep.
But yeah, after commercial, Willie's waking up.
Yep. Hank immediately starts fangirling. While Willie is just is
Concussed.
disheveled, trying to get out of there, obviously concussed. Hank mentions Farm Aid, tries to get an autograph.
Doesn't much care for that Brian Adams, which is why
Nope.
he's been to
Yeah.
every Farm Aid but one because he doesn't
Yeah.
much care for that Brian Adams.
The one that I went to was in like Kansas City, but I don't believe Brian Adams was there. So I believe there was one with Brian Adams. So
Hank is trying to get him to sign an autograph, and he's like, "To my best friend Hank Hill, I wouldn't want you to lie." And then, Willie just kind of writes a line as he's driving off, and Hank reads it as, "To my number one fan Hank Hill," and it's just like a line.
He talks to Peggy, tells her about it. He's essentially talking about how disappointed he is with Bobby as a son. Peggy asks also if he was bleeding from the ears, so I guess that's just a sign of whether or not someone's actually hurt. Bobby overhears them talking shit and how disappointed he is and how gay Hank is for Willie Nelson. And while Bobby is just kind of out there pouting, the kid from the guitar repair store brings Betsy back. Bobby steals her to take her to Willie Nelson's place and right his wrongs.
Yes. Hank is reminiscing there about meeting Willie, and he says, like he always figured they would meet and get to talking and then cut an album and go on tour and open a chicken restaurant.
I'm about to bust.
Which Kenny Rogers, country musician, did open up his own chicken restaurant. So
it was Kenny Rogers.
We've got Willie Nelson, obviously referenced here. We've got Kenny Rogers already referenced here. And we're moving into the part of the show where there's going to be a lot more country and western.
Heavy on the celebrity cameo / references.
Yeah.
So Bobby hops on his bike and rides to Willie Nelson's house. He does go over the handlebars and kind of land on the guitar case.
We get a funny little inner monologue from Bobby there where he's like, "I'm tired of being a screw up. I'm tired of not making my dad proud." And then he's like, "And I'm not going to tell him about that." So the inner monologue I thought
starting
was funny.
now.
But also this is, apparently Arlen is close enough to Austin Hill Country to get there by bike.
Yeah, via bicycle.
Yeah.
So maybe Arlen is in Hill Country.
It could be.
Or maybe they just didn't think about it because it's a cartoon.
Yeah, probably not.
Bobby shows up at Willie's house. He is essentially right next to a mansion, but in a trailer.
Yep, he's living outside his property in a trailer.
Yeah, sitting outside playing Ben Crenshaw Turbo Golf. We get a nice little gag here where he thinks that Bobby's the kid who rakes his lawn.
Yes. Bobby, he's like, "Are you the kid that rakes my lawn?" And Bobby says, I'm the kid who hit you in the head with a golf club." And Willie Nelson says, "You've been raking my lawn with a golf club? I want my quarter back." Pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bobby calls up Hank to tell him to come over. Hank doesn't believe him, and then Willie hops on the phone. Hank is immediately embarrassed.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite line of the episode. He's never stalked anyone before.
And he's not very good at it.
And he's not very good at it.
Not that he should be stalking anyone.
Yeah. And then Hank goes to Willie's house, and by the time he gets there, Willie is having a full-on party.
Yeah. I had a note here that whenever Bobby calls Hank, Bobby's like, "Dad, you'll never guess where I am." And Hank says, "Let me guess, you're crushing Dwight Yoakam's voice box with my 5-iron." So there's country music artist reference number 3.
And he's just pissed at Bobby for ruining all of his favorite stuff.
Yes.
So Hank shows up. He's having a party. He bumps into someone and calls him Rooster Boy.
Says, "Get out of my way, Rooster Boyle." That is supposed to be Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovell.
Also a Texan.
They are in Texas.
For a while, Lyle Lovett was married to Julia Roberts.
Ah, good for him.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Oh, it's just that country music lifestyle.
She couldn't handle it.
Now
Hank, after getting there and finding Willie and Bobby, We find out that Bobby has told Willie Nelson about Hank's narrow urethra.
Hey, Hank,
which
I
is
heard
really
you like to
good.
play guitar, and you have a narrow urethra.
He's super embarrassed. He calls up Peggy and tells her to come on down. Willie also hops on the phone, but we find out that he's basically only calling Peggy to get her to bring Betsy's orange guitar strap.
Yes.
So she's...
Peggy doesn't believe him either and says that she's doing her doing her toes with Ann Richardson, or Ann Richardson and I are doing her toes. To which Willie hops on and says, "I'm looking at Ann Richards right now, and she's playing tetherball."
So she's already there. Is she also from Texas?
She is from Texas. She was the 45th governor of Texas, the second woman. She was a Democrat and a feminist.
Wow.
Feminist
a
icon,
90s
Ann
feminist.
Richards.
Though.
Yes.
Okay. And then Peggy comes down to the party, and everyone is there now. We get a couple good interactions between some of the rest of the gang. We get Boomhauer talking to Bob Dylan.
Yes, very funny.
Which is
dang old
fucking
Boomhauer.
So funny. Like, neither of them understand what the other one is saying. We also get Dennis Hopper hitting on Peggy.
Yes.
And offering to fight Hank, and she's like, "No, Hank would wipe the floor with you."
Yes,
which is fun. She's still mad at Hank, but she knows that he will fight someone. I guess.
Dennis Hopper, I guess, played a lot of villains in cowboy movies. He is in True Grit, the good one. He's in Cool Hand
the good
Luke.
one, not the Jeff Bridges one.
I actually haven't seen the Jeff Bridges one.
It's not bad.
It's
actually
probably good.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jeff Bridges. I was trying to figure out who the blonde woman is in this kind of scene, because
Dale and Bill are criticizing her beer pour.
Yeah, a beer pour, and then it comes out just fine. I was like, who is this lady supposed to be? I couldn't figure it out.
I think it was just supposed to be some blonde lady, but I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that Dennis Hopper tells Peggy to run away, and then he starts eating some watermelon and spits out a seed, gets stuck on his chin, which I think maybe one of his characters had a goatee like that, and that's why they had that little watermelon seed go onto his chin. I don't know that for sure.
Interesting.
A lot of little things in this episode.
Yeah. If anyone knows who the blonde lady is, chime in the comments. Let us know.
Peggy is curious on what the exchange rate is in Mexico on wives to guitars.
Yeah. She's basically just venting to Dennis Hopper about how pissed she is. Hank and Willie are having a bit of a heart-to-heart about Bobby and how he doesn't have a role model. Willie points out that all of the stuff that Bobby has been doing has been directly related to the stuff that Hank loves, and that maybe it's because Bobby looks up to Hank and that Hank is his hero. So Hank has a little bit of a clarity moment. He also makes that same selling a wife joke,
which Peggy overhears.
For a guitar, which Peggy overhears, which makes her even more angry. She's building up the courage to come and knock Hank's friggin' lights out. Hank goes to talk to Bobby, brings the guitar, and plays an old song that he wrote about Peggy, which is a very obvious Buddy Holly ripoff of, I think, just Peggy Sue. Probably. But he just changes some words around.
So now it's time to talk about the foot fetish stuff. The song is called Peg Leg. I know a gal who's got a purty leg, and her name is Peg. We also get a lot of stuff later on about Peggy's big feet. Later on, Hank is going to say, "There's just more of you to love," about Peggy's feet. So,
oh shit!
I think that Hank, low key, has probably got a repressed foot fetish.
Well, there's also one line where he says, like, I think it's in the episode, shout out to future episodes that you guys haven't seen yet, where Cotton shows up, where he says something about him having, like, husbandly duties as well. Like, Peggy does all this stuff, and I have stuff that I do, too, which I won't mention.
Yes.
So maybe they both have a foot thing.
Dude, who knows? Maybe I'll be keeping an eye on the foot fetish tracker.
You know, people come here for the hard-hitting journalism.
Yep.
And we talk about it here on the Hill Kings podcast.
Peggy says, "I love you, propane man." That's funny.
Yeah. So Peggy walks up as Hank is playing the song for Bobby. She has a change of heart because she remembers that the guitar also can relate to Hank being sweet to her. Hank doesn't really apologize, does he?
No.
He doesn't really realize how much of a prick he is
No.
in this
To
episode.
Peggy
Not
or
really
to
any
Bobby.
Yeah, not really any redemption from our boy Hank, but he does get to meet his hero, which I guess is good for him.
Yes.
And then he lets Bobby play the guitar and tells him to scram
get.
while him and Peggy finish
Smooch.
making up.
He's just on the
and-
other end of the couch, though. If you'd see that, they tell him to go away, and then they
Yeah,
zoom out, and
he's-
he's just on the other end of the
He's
couch.
still definitely within earshot.
Yeah.
And then it zooms out, and we see that Willie Nelson has been looking on this entire time and is getting his hair braided by Luann,
Uh-huh.
who is doing an excellent job.
But
And he
using too
says,
much
lighten
glitter.
up on the glitter spray.
Yeah. Because they do it, they make it look like, it's magical Willie Nelson that has fixed everything, but he's just got the
Yep.
glitter spray, which I thought was funny.
And then we get credits, and we do have a short post-credit in this one. We have a couple of celebrities playing tetherball. Did you catch? Was one of those Ann Richards?
One of them is Ann Richards playing tetherball.
And who's the other one? Do we know?
I think she's just playing by herself.
You can play tetherball by yourself? I thought there were two people.
I can't quite recall.
I'll put it up on the screen right now.
Yeah.
And we'll see who's right.
Ooh, look at one of us is right.
Oh my God, I can't believe which one of us is right.
Whoa. Yeah, Hank and Willie are playing guitar there in that post-credit scene, which is pretty
Now,
nice.
do you think that this actually happened, or that this is just a new recurring dream that Hank has?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Inception style.
Ooh, that is a good question.
Yeah, because this seems like it could also just be a fantasy.
It does.
I mean, all of this seems like it could have just been a fantasy that Hank had. Maybe that's why he didn't feel the need to apologize, because it was all just a dream that he had. Maybe all of King of the Hill is a dream.
It was all a dream.
Maybe this is a dream
I used
right
to
now.
read Word Up magazine.
Salt and pepper, heavy D
up in a limousine. It's a pretty good app.
That's the end of the ep.
Yeah, man.
That's the end of episode 4 for the second time.
Oh yeah.
Did your thoughts change on this one? Let's get right into it.
I'm not sure if my thoughts changed because I don't do a good job of remembering my
I
thoughts.
don't remember what I gave
So,
this one the first time around, and we'll never know because the audio file was completely fucked.
I guess we could piece it together from my end, maybe, but
How many Alamos are you pulling out the cooler for this episode? What'd you think overall?
I think this is a good solid 4 beers.
That's a four spot for you.
It's either 3 or 4. It's good because I like it because of all the fan service and kind of cameo references. There are the Luann plot is pretty funny, so yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a 3.
Oh, you're going down.
Yeah, I think
There's
I'm,
contention here,
I think
folks.
I think I'm staying at a 3. Yeah.
Wow. He's giving it a
Wow.
3.
Yeah.
I think I'm giving this one a 5,
Ooh.
man.
Alcoholic.
I'm pounding down some brews on a Sunday for this one. I mean, they got Willie Nelson for their 4th episode. That's a
Yeah, that's a
pretty
little
big
nuts.
pull for a Texas man.
Well,
I
wait
guess
until you
it could
see
have-
our 10th.
Huh?
I said wait until you see our 10th episode.
We haven't done that one yet.
I know. Wait until they see it. You think Willie Nelson's impressive?
Is there a big time cameo coming up?
On this show, there is. You know that special guest we've got lined up?
Oh shit, Willie Nelson?
Yes. It's actually the ghost of Willie Nelson. We're recording this in the future.
Hey, no.
It's past.
Don't. Willie Nelson is. We're not doing that. I just did that. So when Betty White died,
Yeah.
I had a conversation with some people earlier that day about Betty White, and I was wearing a Golden Girls t-shirt.
Hell yeah.
So I had a conversation about Betty White, and then later that day, she died.
So
The other
you're in
day-
line.
Yes, the other day I was talking to some people, and I just like made a Dick Butkus reference.
Uh-huh.
Later that day, Dick Butkus died.
Damn.
So I am really hoping that this episode will go up in 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
In that time period, if Willie Nelson dies, I may be on the run
Yeah. So should we
because
talk,
I may have the power to kill people.
should we take a couple of minutes to talk in depth about Mitch McConnell?
Wait, give me your best Mitch McConnell impression. I pooped him. Yeah.
It's
No,
that kind
it'd
of
be cool
podcast.
if he died. It'd be cool if he died. I'd be into that. So yeah, I'm giving this one a 5. I loved the story arc here. It all seemed very over the top and fantasy driven. The Hank having recurring dreams about Willie Nelson is pretty hilarious. I can relate to him being very attached to his guitar. I loved the celery head references. I thought that Bobby was quite funny in this episode. I loved all of the celebrity references. We had Boomhauer with Bob Dylan, which I also loved. Yeah, I think this is a 5 for your boy.
Nice.
Now that we have that out of the way, should we do our final segment?
We should. We shall.
Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, 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 Bobby.
We just did a Mitch McConnell face the entire time that was on. This is the Hill King segment. This is a segment of the show where Chris and I each crown our individual kings of the hill, the MVP of the episode. This is completely just based on how we are feeling in the moment, and probably honestly won't even match up to our Hill King from the previous time we recorded this episode, because we decide on the day, in the moment, who, since I'm driving the mower, is your Hill King for this ep.
For me, this ep, it's Bobby.
Bobby.
Bobby is my Hill King here. A lot of the conflict is driven by him. A lot of the good lines are centered around Bobby, and it's ultimately his actions that lead to some self-reflection or some learning for Hank. So I think it's going to be Bobby. And also, I just really love the scene with the mower where what happened to my truck? Your mower hit it. Well, maybe I should take my mower to the child psychologist. Like that. That got me. So my Hill King this ep is Bobby. And also, I liked his inner monologue. I thought that was really cute, where he's doing his little inner monologue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not Hank for me this episode.
No,
because he didn't get any redemption, and I think unprecedented. I'm going Bobby as well.
Ooh, double.
I think we're
Bobs.
doubling up on our boy,
Double Bob. 2
Robert.
scoops of Bobby.
Yeah, I agree with you that Bobby really kind of carried this episode. I almost went Luann just because of the 2 throwaway lines that she had that were funny, which I have done before. She might be a runner-up for me, but I feel like it would be a disservice to not give this to our boy Bob.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Bobby.
You heard it here first, folk. You finished the episode. That was awful. I can't even talk.
Welcome back to the Death Note podcast, the only podcast where we speak people's names into existence to be erased from this world.
Nancy Pelosi. Dianne Feinstein.
Whoa!
Whoa, she's already dead. Whoa.
You don't know when this was recorded. You only know when it came out.
Ooh. The Queen.
She still walks among us.
No, she's super dead.
Well, hell yeah, dude. Let's get out of here. It's a beautiful Sunday.
All right. That was episode 4 of season 1, King of the Hill. Join us next week as we talk about episode 5, Luann's Saga.
Luann's Saga. That's a good one.
Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, to subscribe, turn on notifications,
Smash the
give
like.
us a comment, smash the like. Let us know who your Hill King for this episode was. Let us know if you have any fun trivia for this episode in the comments. Chris promises to respond to every single comment. You can message us on Instagram at HillKingsPod. We are also on TikTok at HillKingsPod. You can email us at hillkingspod@gmail.com.
Yes.
And subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yes.
We're on all of it. We're
We're
here.
everywhere.
It's all official. It's all professionally edited by your boy.
We're spread thick.
We're spread. We're spread extra thick. And that, my friends, will do it
Yee.
for this here episode of King of the Hill. We'll see you next week.
So long, folks. Y'all come back now.
So long.
Hill Kings Podcast.
Let's see if it worked.